Auspicious. Good morning. Before we get started, will everyone please stand and join in the singing of our national anthem?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Good morning, doctors. How was your evening? Good. For those that didn't meet me last night, my name is Colin Clay, and it's my honor and privilege to serve as Interim Dean of the College of Veterinary Medicine and Biomedical Sciences here at Colorado State University. We talked about what interim meant last night, so we don't need to go there again. This is an amazing event, and I know it will be a special day for all of us. Right now, we're going to participate in the commencement ceremony of 148 graduates, the class of 2022, as they become doctors of veterinary medicine. I want to thank you for joining us all of you in the stands and traveling the many miles to be with us here this morning. We'd like to begin this ceremony with the acknowledgement of the origins of the land that our university was built upon. Colorado State University acknowledges with respect that the land we are on today is the traditional and ancestral homelands of the Arapaho, Cheyenne, and Ute nations and people. This was also a site of trade, gathering, and healing for numerous other native tribes. We recognize the indigenous peoples as original stewards of this land and all the relatives within it. As these words of acknowledgement are spoken and heard, the ties nations have to their traditional homelands are renewed and reaffirmed. CSU is founded as a land-grant institution, and we accept that our mission must encompass access to education and inclusion, and significantly, that our founding came at a dire cost to Native nations and peoples whose land this university was built upon. This acknowledgement is the education and inclusion we must practice in recognizing our institutional history, responsibility, and commitment. Now, just a couple of housekeeping details, if you will. First, if you've not already done so, I would ask that you please turn off your cell phones at this time. And after the ceremony, we ask that you meet your student, your new doctor, outside of Moby Arena. Families and friends will not be allowed to gather or take pictures here in the Moby Arena after the ceremony. We do have an on-site photography team. Photos can be viewed online next week, and graduates will receive information via email regarding the purchase of photographs approximately 2 weeks after the ceremony. Now, I'd like to take just a moment to introduce the faculty and guests you see on the platform next to me. And I will ask each person to rise and remain standing through the introductions, and may I ask you please hold your applause until everyone has been introduced. It's a particular honor to first introduce Joyce McConnell, 15th President of Colorado State University. Dr. Anna Fales, Assistant Professor of Biomedical Sciences, Colorado State University. Dr. Steve Dick, President-elect of the Colorado Veterinary Medical Association. Dr. Karsten Hofer, Associate Dean and now I believe Acting Dean and Professor in the Department of Veterinary Medicine, University of Alaska at Fairbanks. Thank you all for joining us on the platform today, and please join me in applause for this, also for the CSU Brass Ensemble. See, getting ahead of myself. Thank you. Also, please join me in a round of applause for the CSU Brass Ensemble and our soloist, Emmanuel Bonilla. So this is the 113th year in which Colorado State University has graduated a class of veterinarians. You've worked very hard to be part of this tradition, not only in the last 4 years, and as we discussed last night, perhaps particularly the last 2 years, but also, as we all know in this room, this journey starts many years prior to entering our professional program. This is a tremendous lifetime achievement, and I feel very honored as interim dean of this college to be here today and to be a part of this milestone. Our veterinary college is one of the very finest in the world, and I know the students graduating today are also some of the very best, are the very best in the world. The basic foundation for excellence in any world-class program is the people who bring it to life. It takes intelligent, passionate, motivated, and innovative teachers and staff to reach this level of excellence. We're so proud of our CSU team, and I would like to ask all college faculty and staff to please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Now, several of our graduates have recently received awards from various groups within our college. Most of these were presented last night. The awards presented and the names of the recognized students are printed in your program, and we're not going to be going through those individually today, but I would like to offer my congratulations to each of you for your outstanding achievements. Please join me in recognizing these excellent students. At this time, I would like to invite President Joyce McConnell, President of Colorado State University, to the podium. President McConnell will confer the degree of Doctor of Veterinary Medicine. Will the class of 2022 please stand? President McConnell, on behalf of the faculty in the College of Veterinary Medicine and Biomedical Sciences, I present to you these candidates for the degree of Doctor of Veterinary Medicine who have fulfilled all requirements for the degree.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Governors, the Governing Board of Colorado State University, I hereby confer upon you the degree Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, together with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. You may be seated.
Okay. Anna, are you reading names? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. That's early, isn't it? We will now proceed with the ceremony and bestow diploma covers to each graduate. Will Dr. Melinda Fry please escort the graduates to the platform to receive their diploma and a memento from the college. As Dr. Anna Fales reads your name, please walk to center stage where you will receive your degree.
Lindsay Edelmeyer, Arizona. Roxanne Aflalo, California. Lauren Alfino, Colorado. Emily Rose Angle, Oregon. Catherine Asaturian, California. Alexandria Bailey, South Carolina. Michaela Balo, Arizona, cum laude. Cassandra Balsley, Arizona. Brianna Barnhart, California. Nicholas Gregory Bauer, Idaho. Bonnie Bopier, Arizona. Sarah Bishop, Colorado. Alexandria Blacksmith, Hawaii. Allison Boehm, New York. Austin Brewer, Utah. Maria Brock, Colorado, cum laude. Samantha Bromley, Rhode Island. Ellie Butler, Alaska, magna cum laude. Patricia Caffey, New Mexico. Dorian Carter, California. Cynthia Chon, Arizona. Haley Marie Clark, Colorado, cum laude. Annie Clift, Colorado. Rachel Elizabeth Conway, Colorado. Sarah Chrysler, New Mexico. Kat Crowdis, Florida. Kimberly Cruz, New Jersey. Stephanie Cruz Castro, Puerto Rico. Veronica Danhoff, Washington. Brooke Steele Davis, Alaska. Lynn Davis, Illinois. Brian D. Filippo, Texas, magna cum laude. Sarah Beth DeLuty, New Jersey. Chelsea Lane Delzer, Wisconsin. Shelby Dinger, New Jersey. Shannon Doherty Garces, Colorado. Shelby Dolgard, Arizona. Enrique Doster, Texas. Sophie Epstein, Massachusetts, cum laude. Jade Frank, Virginia. Cody Frock, Pennsylvania. Allie Fuller, Arizona. Rachel Gardy, Colorado. Alyssa Daniels, Maryland. Emily Garrison, Colorado, magna cum laude. Daisy Gollin, Maine. Alexa Germano, Arizona. Angelica Gifford, Wisconsin. Alicia Marielle Glass, Arizona. Catherine Marie Goodman, New Jersey. Ashley Gridley, Utah. Chase Gross, Iowa. Clara Hansen, New Mexico. Shelby Hansen, North Dakota. Bailey Harmon, Indiana. Misha Harrison, Colorado. Daphne Havermale, Maryland. Brittany Hellam, Colorado. Sophie Hopkins, Washington. Rachel Ritz, Colorado. Kira Holsing, Alaska. Brooke Hirsch, Wyoming. Alex Hyman, Vermont. Nicole Irache, New York. Blaine Ishizu, Hawaii. Elizabeth Johnstone, New York, cum laude. Kelsey Kafestian, Utah, cum laude. Harisa Karminajad, Colorado. Grace Kelly, New Jersey. Delara Curran, Virginia. Colin Kramer, Missouri. Elena Kier, Colorado. Austin Larata, Florida. Ashley Elizabeth Lauk, Colorado. Sarah Lee, Colorado. Jenjen Lee, Virginia. Sarah Lockfeld, Oregon. Michael Kang Liu, Colorado. Brooke McNeil, Nevada. Stephanie Malloy, Colorado. Patricia Marquez de Palo, Illinois. Mallory Marshall, Delaware. Veronica Martin, New Mexico. Mackenzie Mayer, Wyoming. Isabella Mazariegos, Guatemala. Christina McBroom, Arizona. Catherine Ann McCaw, Washington, cum laude. Shelley Lee McDaniel, Colorado. Courtney McGinnis, Massachusetts. Erin Catherine Marie McGurk, Wisconsin, magna cum laude. Christina McHugh, Colorado. Lauren McKegg, Colorado. Brooke Miller, Nevada. Angela Molly, Colorado. Josh Moore, Florida. Mel Benjamin Mosley, Georgia. Brian Moulton, Colorado. Kelsey Naftel, Hawaii. Sam Neal, Oklahoma. Brooke Elaine Niederhauser, Colorado. H.P. O'Doherty, Idaho. Amy Pepper, Texas. Elena Perez, New York. Cassie Podliska, North Dakota. Christy Quintero, Florida. Veronica Rietkirk, Washington. Lauren Riggs, Texas. Michaela Risch, Washington. Stephanie Rouse, California. Jessica Rupert, Pennsylvania. Jessica Rutten, California. Michelle Solomon, Washington. Nick Spardelati, California. Stephanie Schiavone, Netherlands. Danielle Scott, New Jersey. Rowan Siebold, Colorado. Cassie Seabart, Wyoming. Zachary Shuffler, Indiana. Amy Malia Siltberg, Wisconsin. Marie Simon, California. Ashni Singh, California. Mariah Slack, California, cum laude. Sage Smith, West Virginia. Jana Marie Smith, Colorado. Justine Stallnaker, Oregon. Christina Massey Stevens, New Jersey. Cassidy Stone, New Mexico. Erin Sunshine, Colorado. Anuhea Sutherland, Colorado, cum laude. Michael Venn, Wyoming. Mackenzie Townsend, Wyoming. Nicole Turner, Colorado. Audrey Elizabeth Walker, Illinois. Max Waugh, Colorado, summa cum laude. Evan Williams, Michigan. Christina Williams, Massachusetts. Sarah Wilsey, Washington. Anna Winner, Pennsylvania. Natasha Worker, Alaska. Mareka Idens, New Mexico. Catherine Zigner, Colorado. Carson Zweck Bronner, Colorado, cum laude.
Please join me in recognizing these new doctors of veterinary medicine. At this time, I'd like to ask Dr. Steve Dick to administer the veterinarian's oath. Dr. Steve Dick is the president-elect of the Colorado Veterinary Medical Association.
Will the graduates please stand? Raise your right hand and repeat after me. Being admitted to the profession of veterinary medicine, I solemnly swear to use my scientific knowledge and skills for the benefit of society through the protection of animal health and welfare, the prevention and relief of animal suffering, the conservation of animal resources, the promotion of public health, and the advancement of medical knowledge. I will practice my profession conscientiously, with dignity, and in keeping with the principles of veterinary medical ethics. I accept as a lifelong obligation the continual improvement of my professional knowledge and competence. Congratulations, welcome to the profession. You can be seated.
Thank you, Dr. Dick. Now, I'd like to take a moment to recognize all those joining us today that currently or have previously served our great nation in the armed forces. At this time, we would like to ask all former and current members of the U.S. Armed Forces in the audience to stand and be recognized. Thank you for your service to our country. I might point out that the United States Army Veterinary Corps celebrated its 100th year anniversary in 2016 and has had over 2,300 veterinary officers. I'd also like to note that today there are 10 CSU DVM graduates who are part of the University of Alaska, Colorado State University Collaborative DVM program. As part of this program, students study at the University of Alaska Fairbanks for the first 2 years of their veterinary training, then join us here in Fort Collins to complete their latter 2 years. We are grateful to the students, faculty, and staff who make this program possible, and for the ideas, resources, opportunities that this unique partnership contributes. Now I'd like to call upon Dr. Anna Fales, our commencement speaker.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us begin. I've started every lecture I've ever given to veterinary students with that phrase. And you, the DVM class of 2022, you heard it for the very first time at 8 a.m. on Monday morning on the first day of your first semester in the first year of the professional curriculum. It is my enormous pleasure to have been there to welcome you on that momentous day, to be the first of your many veterinary instructors to stand in front of you. And now here I am, saying it to you one last time, as I give you the last presentation by faculty in your veterinary education. And what an amazing privilege and honor it is for me to be the bookends to your adventure. Ladies and gentlemen, let us begin. And when I said this to you each time in the lecture hall, what I was really saying that it was time to settle down, focus in, and get her done. And get her done, you did. The typical veterinary student arrives in their first year an absolute mass of angst and doubt. Some of you were very far from home, and many were far from family, and all were far from certain that they would be able to meet all the expectations that they and others had placed upon you. But you settled down, you focused in, and you got her done. And along the way, in the past 4 years, you've developed friendships, you faced hardships, you found courage, you gave and received kindness. Over and over again, you chose compassion over competition, cooperation over conflict. And this is why I love being with veterinary students. It is on the subject of compassion and kindness that I'd like to say just a few words. I can't tell you how to be a great veterinarian or a successful practice owner or offer a lot of suggestions on exciting career paths unless you want to hear about the electrifying world of veterinary anatomy. But what I can say is that in this angry, anxious world, there are very few things and very few situations that can't be made just a little better by some kindness and compassion. Now, you're in a healing profession, and of course, you've undertaken the career because of the kindness and compassion you feel for your patients. I hope I don't have to remind you that you should always try to find ways to extend those gifts to your clients, to the people around you, to people far from you, and yes, even to strangers, to make your corner of the universe just a little bit better for your having been here. It is well to remember that the entire universe, with one trifling exception, is composed of others. Your happiness grows out of small gestures, out of small moments, out of choosing to do the kind thing and making the compassionate choice. And don't forget to extend that kindness to yourselves as well. It will be a terrifying moment for the new veterinarian to realize that there will never again be a posted answer key for the cases you see. So you've got to give yourself room to be human. You've got to liberate yourself from the very cruel illusion that it's a sign of inadequacy not to know, or even, heaven forbid, to be wrong. Now, I said it repeatedly in your first year, you can only learn one thing from being right, but you can learn a whole lot more from being wrong. So own and embrace uncertainty and welcome error as the opportunity it is to grow and change. Now, there aren't too many sure things in life, but one is that we will always face change. Life is hello, and life is goodbye. We grow older. People come into our lives and people leave it. Friends are made, friends are lost. For something as inevitable as this, we all spend an awful lot of energy and time fearing change, and it has been observed most often on very cheesy inspirational posters that change is just another word for opportunity. Well, I'm no stranger to opportunity disguised as change. I left a career as a veterinary practitioner to become an academician. And if you don't think that's a frightening change, you're hard to scare. But that leap into uncertainty for me put me exactly where I was supposed to be, right here with you. So I speak from experience when I say, don't be afraid to change your direction. The doctorate of veterinary medicine is a great biomedical degree, and it can be the launching point for careers as practitioners, as educators, as researchers, scientists, and many more. You do not have to follow the script you wrote for yourself when you were 12 years old. When the chance to grow arises, seize it with both hands. Now, of course, the spring of 2020 brought changes that none of us wanted or anticipated. The pandemic left faculty and students alike scrambling to reinvent the curriculum and how to navigate it. But once again, you settled down, focused in, and you got her done. And in spite of all the frustration, the recordings, the failed recordings, the Zoom meetings, technology snafus, online testing, and 100 other aggravations, you've proven, once again, that you're smart enough, you're hardworking enough, and you are resourceful enough to rise to any challenge. And now here you are on the threshold of an enormous change. Because tomorrow will be the first day that you wake up, and for the whole day, you're going to be doctor. And whether you view this change with fear or eagerness is largely a matter of choice. Of all the liars in the world, sometimes the worst are your own fears. You can be sure there are going to be challenges. There are going to be setbacks, because that's what life is. Life can be hard. Bad things are going to happen. But you are so much more than the bad things that happen to you. You can't wait until life isn't hard anymore to be happy. Choose to make your happiness happen now. And remember, His Holiness the Dalai Lama says, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. Now, I haven't had the pleasure of being your teacher for about 3 years now, but before I wrap up, I'm going to show everyone here, your friends and family, my colleagues, that even though I'm just the anatomy professor, I do have a lasting impact on my students and their careers as veterinarians. So I'm going to ask you guys an anatomy question, okay? And you're going to answer it loudly and in unison. And I swear, everybody, I did not prep them for this. They don't know what I'm going to ask them. Are you ready? Here it is. What are cats made of? Now, I taught them that. I'm very proud. And you know what else I taught you? On that same first day, in that first lecture, I said something that I repeated over and over again. Remember why you're here. And I was trying at that time to get you to look up from the lecture, to look up from the test, to look up from the grade, and keep your eyes where they belonged. On this day is why you came here. And I am so proud to be with you all. And now, ladies and gentlemen, doctors, let us truly begin.
Thank you, Dr. Fales. You're always very, very surprising. Rubber? Okay. I now invite Christina Williams, the class speaker, to come to the podium and give the students' speech.
stuff ready. There's a lot of stuff to carry in with no bag. Just gonna get one of these ready. Thank you for being here. There's only 3 more ceremonies today. I didn't think that there was an item of clothing less flattering than the clinic smock until today. Here at the end of our 4-year journey, there's a mix of emotions: excitement and trepidation for the next step, nostalgia and gratitude, pure exhaustion because your last rotation was equine and they probably had you do treatments 20 minutes ago. 4 years into our training, before we take that first step as doctors, I think we all have the same question echoing in our brains. Can we have a calculator? Are we allowed to have scrap paper? All of us have sacrificed so much to be here. Some of us our health, both mental and physical. Some of us life events, weddings, holidays. We've missed them to be here. We have lost loved ones, but we've also gained them. I think of you as my family. Sorry. You've helped me through some of the hardest moments of my life, and I know that many of you have felt similarly. When I lost my father months into our first semester, I never thought that I would be up here with you today. But you encouraged me, and you kept me going, and that's medicine. It's compassion and helping. To echo Dr. Fail's speech, it's compassion over competition. Veterinary medicine is a team sport, and not just because it takes 4 people to tackle a fractious cat. Remember your family here when the world is not kind. We can't carry it for you, but we can carry you. When the bad days and sad cases weigh you down, when you feel inadequate, that at any moment someone will realize that you're the great pretender, which is Addison's disease, not you. Be kind to yourself and remember why you're here. Primum non nocere, first. Do no harm, not to your patients, and most importantly, not to yourself. You are not an imposter. You deserve to be here. Be proud of yourself. Out of 2,000 applications, 148 of you are here today, and you did the damn thing. Remember the wisdom shared by our professors and now colleagues. When you have a bad day, I want you to think of Dr. Mason telling you, Doc, you can do this, Doc. Yes. Yes, Dr. Gary Mason, yes. You can think of Dr. Lappin reminding you to think of 2 drugs for every bug. That's an old Lappinism. Remember the beautiful words of farewell that we received via email for the acknowledgement of our last week ever at the Veterinary Teaching Hospital, such as, the serum chemistry analyzer is down. IMCU and CCU are at capacity. The candy basket has been stolen. Whenever you think you've made a mistake, remember CSU switched to string soft by choice. When writing a story, a common template used is the hero's journey. The primary definition in literature of a hero is a person who is admired or idealized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities, which defines all of you today. To summarize the hero's journey, there is a call to adventure, the meeting of a mentor, the challenge, the resolution, and the return. On your return today, reflect on the Herculean task that you have just accomplished, despite multiple challenges. I may never see some of you heroes again, my heroes, but I hope not. You're going to do it, and you're going to be amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. String soft was before my time. There's another group of individuals who need to be recognized for playing the most important role in helping these graduates get where they are today. Through their support and guidance, this group of young minds have been nurtured through elementary school, middle school, high school, college, and now can be called doctor. These are the folks that taught you how to tie your shoes right before you learned to tie a surgeon's knot or suture. I would like to ask all the parents, spouses, other family members, and friends of our new graduates to please stand and be recognized by our graduates, faculty, and staff. Thank you. Well, folks, we now have 148 new doctors in the house. Now, in addition to earning your DVM degree, you have also moved now from student to alumni. Colorado State University has now graduated almost 8,000 veterinarians, and as a university, you now are part of over 200,000 worldwide alumni. So on behalf of the Colorado State University Alumni Association, congratulations and welcome aboard. What you do as the class of 2022 will be varied. Where you live will be far flung, but what you have experienced, right, your shared experience. Together, over the last 4 years, will unite all of you forever. Just as your class of 2022 will be forever connected, we hope you'll stay closely connected to all of us at Colorado State University. No matter where your personal and professional journey takes you, know that the CSU Alumni Association, your college, and your former professors will be here for you every step of the way. I want to commend you for having the courage and fortitude to follow your hearts and dreams. There are many professions and careers you could have chosen, but I can think of none other that is as selfless and that comes from a sincere interest to make a positive impact on our world, and that is to care for animals and the people that care for those animals. Now, in closing, just a couple remarks. I spoke last night, so I'm not going to belabor those same themes. You know, we did talk about Henry V, which maybe you didn't expect as part of the DVM hooding. So I revised that phrase just a little bit to recognize today. And Friday the 13th shall never go by. From this day to the end of the world, but we in it shall be remembered, we few, we happy few, you, the class of 2022. I didn't realize that rhymed, so. I've always been asked to, if I have any advice at the end of a commencement, and I really don't. One, I guess, that I've often shared is never buy an egg salad sandwich from a street vendor in Jakarta. And that one I speak from experience. The other is, as I mentioned last night, is military background, and knew a command sergeant in the 82nd Airborne real well, and he had advice to new recruits, and it was quite simple, and that is this: when in doubt, duck. Probably good advice in combat, but I think the last 2 years reveals a class that is less inclined to duck, but rather more inclined to engage, not in the sense of combat, but in the sense of common purpose. You know where you've been, and you know where you're going, and both of those things are awfully important. I was thinking this morning from Alice in Wonderland, remember the Cheshire Cat? One day Alice came to a fork in the road and saw a Cheshire Cat in a tree. "Which road do I take?" she asked. "Where do you want to go?" was his response. "I don't know," Alice answered. "Then," said the cat, "it doesn't matter." Now, I'm not one to believe that we always know exactly where we're going, and at those moments, I think it's perfectly okay to regroup and take a moment and reflect on who you are and how you got there. And I mentioned last night, stay between the navigational beacons. Use those navigational beacons, not the ones that are outside to starboard or to port, but the ones that are inside of all of you. Trust them. You also say it really is okay to duck from time to time. Sometimes that's just called choosing rather than tempting fate. So last thing I'm going to share is some of you are from Hawaii here. I actually had the pleasure of spending junior high and high school years in Hawaii and graduated from high school, a school called Punahou. And some of you heard this before, so I apologize. And there's a phrase in Hawaiian, a word, it's a powerful word that you all know, and that's aloha. And it's a term that's used in a number of different rhetorical constructs to express things like hospitality, affection, compassion, hello, and goodbye. So the final charge at high school graduation at Punahou was Haina ia mai ana kapuana, aloha. Now, roughly translated, that means let your story be told. So, Haina ia mai ana kapuana, class of 2022, it's a heck of a story. Tell it. Congratulations and aloha. Job well done. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you for being part of this wonderful event. I ask that the audience please remain seated until the platform group and graduates have exited. Congratulations, class of 2022.